Sexual harassment. Sexual harassment can be really scary for anyone to experience in the workplace, regardless of your gender. This is something that can happen to both men and women. What is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment can take many forms. It can be inappropriate comments. It can be inappropriate physical touching. It can be your boss asking you out. It can be text messages, jokes, memes that are shared in the workplace. It's anything that's both subjectively and objectively offensive. There's two types of cases when it comes to sexual harassment. We have sexual harassment by a coworker. In this case, the employer is required to have notice. In other words, your employer is not liable for the sexual harassment by your coworker if they don't know about it. So you have to complain. You have to put your employer on notice. And as always, we strongly recommend, that you complain in writing to HR, to your supervisor, whatever your handbook says. Your employer has, when they get this complaint, they have a duty to investigate. They have a duty to investigate and take corrective action that will deter and prevent the sexual harassment from reoccurring. If they don't do this, you can have a case for sexual harassment against your employer. The other type of sexual harassment case is sexual harassment by a supervisor. This is where we have what's called strict liability, meaning if your supervisor harasses you, your employer is liable for it, regardless of whether or not you complain. Statute of limitations. This is something that everyone always wonders about. How long do I have to bring my case? This can be a complicated question because a lot of people who have claims for sexual harassment also have claims for wrongful termination, constructive discharge. They may even have claims under the labor code. So it's not a straightforward answer. It's best that you call us as soon as you think you've experienced sexual harassment so we can do an assessment, understand your case, and advise you what your statute of limitations may be. It could be anywhere from 1 to 3 years. What to expect in a case. If you have a sexual harassment case with us, what to expect. So there's what we call pre-litigation negotiations. If you've experienced sexual harassment, we can get involved and notify your employer that you've experienced this in the workplace and that you've been harmed or damaged because of it. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes employers are willing to negotiate with you to come to a settlement outside of court to compensate you for the harm that you've suffered. If this isn't the case, if your employer's not willing to do that, then you file a formal lawsuit. This can take anywhere from 1 to 2 years. Most cases don't actually go to trial and they settle at some point in between. There's a lot of steps that happen in the life of a case, and it's difficult to predict, it's impossible to predict at what point any particular case will settle in there. The next question that everybody always asks us is, how much is my case worth? The answer is, it depends. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on how much your salary was, how long you were there, the severity of the sexual harassment, how bad was it? It depends how long it took you to find a new job. After you quit or after you were fired, did you find a new job? Maybe you haven't found a new job yet. Or maybe the new job that you found isn't comparable. It's not as good as your other one. And then it also depends on your emotional distress. Are you in therapy? Have you been put on medication to deal with your emotional distress? All of these factors will play into how we can value your case. But again, it's always best to call us as soon as you think you've experienced sexual harassment so we can assess your case, assess the damages, and provide you with evaluation and how to move forward from there.